The Critical Role cast reveal their next characters. The D&D episode of Secret Lair gets its own trailer. RPGs dominate the 2024 Game of the Year awards, and Kobold Press apologizes for firing some serious shots at Dungeons & Dragons.
Fire everything!
Welcome to Tabletop News Tuesday, your first look at the week's biggest fantasy and TTRPG news. Before we dive into some big Critical Role and D&D stories this week, why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help us keep the channel going, and then let's dive into the news.
Dive!
Critical Role has revealed their new cast of characters for the upcoming Daggerheart Critmas live show. At least, they've revealed most of their new characters. One interesting wrinkle in this Session 0 is that Matt has created some holiday-themed Daggerheart ancestries, but then handed them out at random to the cast at the very end of their character creation session, and told them to keep it a secret from both the fans and each other until their live show in December. But what we did learn about the new characters is that the cast is playing teenagers from the late 70s or 80s era Earth or Earth-like planet, and in fact they are literally playing the characters they played in the original live-action intro for Critical Role Campaign 2. That amazing callback means that Travis is playing a jockish warrior with a secret love of theater and a freaky mom. Or as Laura pointed out,
are you Stifler?
And speaking of Laura, she's playing the preppy, straight-A's getting guardian, with a rich dad who's remarried the mother of the nerdy class clown wizard that Sam is playing, making the two step-siblings in the new Critmas one-shot. And while Liam playing the theater kid of the group is perhaps the least shocking thing ever, his class choice is actually a huge shock, as he has done what he once vowed to never do: play a bard. And Ashley is playing Liam's band geek sister as a druid who went way off the rails when she asked Matt if instead of animals, she could wild shape into instruments, leading to the creation of some kind of horrifying anthropomorphic French horn monster being spitballed by the cast. Marisha is playing a kind of troublemaking bad kid ranger whose animal companion is actually her skateboard. Taliesin plays the goth kid rogue who is way into buying swords and throwing stars at the mall and whose dad is a cop, but will also be the one person in the group that has a car. In this case, one of those super rectangular old Volvo station wagons. They also created the map of this small town they're all from, but even the cast themselves won't know the full details of each other's backgrounds and ancestries until they learn right alongside us at the live show this December. And if you can't make it, they've announced it will be streamed 2 weeks later for all those critters who couldn't attend, so make sure you don't miss out.
Hot damn!
The D&D episode of Secret Lair, the new animated series heading to Prime Video that also features episodes dedicated to Warhammer 40k, Mega Man, Sifu, and other huge video games, has gotten a new trailer. This new 45-second trailer shows us more details of the party, which appears to be led by that Goliath paladin, along with a gnome wizard, an orc druid, a dwarf monk, and a mysterious young man with some kind of magical power. And they all appear to be facing off against a powerful lich who flies into battle on the back of a monstrous bat. And with Amazon just announcing that the episode will air on December 10th, right at the premiere of the series, we won't have long to wait.
Compelling and rich.
RPGs have once again dominated the Game of the Year category for the 2024 Game Awards, but not without some major controversy. A year after Baldur's Gate 3 dominated the Game Awards, the new field of potential winners is almost entirely RPGs, with Black Myth Wukong, Metaphor ReFantasio, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, all getting nominated for the Game of the Year, along with Astrobot and Balatro. It's impossible not to feel like RPGs are once again dominating this year, although part of that has sparked some major controversy. Specifically, some fans and journalists have spoken out harshly against including Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, since the award is for Game of the Year, and Shadow of the Erdtree is DLC for an existing game and previous award winner, Elden Ring, which they feel disqualifies it to win the award on its own. The argument being, how can something that isn't even a standalone game win Game of the Year? That said, if any DLC could ever have a legitimate argument to win, Shadow of the Erdtree, which dominated the first half of the year in terms of sales, player base, viewership across social media and streaming, and basically any metric of video game success you can imagine, might just be that exception. Either way, it's another massive year for RPG fans at the Game Awards, and we only have to wait till December to find out who takes home the prize.
But I want it now!
And finally, Kobold Press, makers of the Tales of the Valiant TTRPG and creators of the Black Flag open gaming system, have sparked some serious backlash for taking a few shots at Dungeons & Dragons' two newest releases, the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide. Kobold Press published articles comparing the two D&D releases to their own Tales of the Valiant counterparts, basically trying to point out every way in which their versions were superior, and this was particularly harsh for the Dungeon Master's Guide. For their comparison of the Dungeon Master's Guide to their own Game Master's Guide, Kobold Press ripped D&D for having fewer plug-and-play options, aka usable examples of things like traps, hazards, potions, etc., and even called them out for having discouraged homebrewing in the new book. They at one point flat out said the Dungeon Master's Guide could be a potential waste of space, saying, quote, "Several sections felt like filler. We got the impression that choices were made to meet page count and get it on the shelves as soon as possible." They also called it out for its lack of a random encounter table, not having specific magic item prices, and a ton of other issues. However, this may have been a bit too harsh, as it sparked over 50 pages of forum discussion on the InWorld site alone, with a lot of fans saying even if they were right in some areas, and to be honest, they do make some good points, just tell me how much a magic item costs, for crying out loud, they shouldn't tear down someone else's product to try and hype up their own. This led to an official apology being posted by Kobold Press late last week, where they admitted this was a poor move on their part, and that they would leave opinionated reviews to the community and the press going forward, and just try to lift up creators instead of tearing them down. So it seems that everyone has moved on and learned something from this whole scenario, although we really would love to have some kind of price guide the next time our party goes wand shopping in D&D. That's all the time we have for Tabletop News Tuesday this week. Let us know what your favorite story was in the comments section, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.